Alright, today we're going to be watching Tommy MSG. We're going to be talking about worst time periods to be alive in. Oh man, think about all the things that go on, like maybe medieval times. Medieval times probably the worst time period to live in. Or like if you was a caveman, living with dinosaurs, I wouldn't survive, But further notice, we're going to get to it.
The world is facing a massive turmoil all around it, and people aren't really happy with things like wars that don't need to be happening.
Bye-bye, Russia!
Inflation that turned a Little Caesars pizza from $5 to $10. It don't even be tasting good enough for this price. Little Caesars, y'all know you're wrong for this. People barely being able to afford to live. But all things considered, we're probably at the best moment in humanity compared to other times. Which is why we're gonna be looking at the
worst times to be alive.
Starting off with none other than caveman times. The name of it in general gives it away. Caveman times. Them had to live in caves to survive the nights for slumber. Like, we consider the least you can have in life is shelter. Their shelter was a damp cave with all types of
Hold on. Wait a minute. Go back. Hold on, wait a minute.
You can have in life is shelter. Their shelter was a damp cave with all...
Look at that. Imagine being a caveman and you gotta wake up inside of that. That would be scary. That would be scary. And you have to be inside a cave that's probably open, so you never know. You could probably be asleep up in there, and an animal could come and get you while you sleep. So like they had nothing. They had nothing. There's no desktop. There's no iPhones. There's no technology. Like every day you had to go out and hunt for your food. You had to go out and hunt. Like now we got DoorDash and Uber Eats and maybe Kroger's. You order Kroger's and they bring you groceries. But back in that time, you had to go hunt and get your own food, kill it, bring it back, start a fire, whip it by pieces, eat whatever animal that you had to eat that day, every day for the rest of your life during that time period. So that's just something to think about.
All types of insects and bats flying around. You could barely around and risk sleeping because a 20-foot spider might bite your nuts off while you sleep. And could you imagine how sleeping in the winter would have been like? I know that rock bed felt like ice cubes. The typical day for a caveman is waking up and hoping you weren't eaten by either a saber-toothed tiger, a wolf.
Right, eaten by a saber-tooth. You had to fight saber-tooths. Probably had to fight woolly mammoths.
Mammoth or Elon Musk. Then you have to go out and actually hunt for your food. And unless you're the liver king and hunting bulls, then throwing the testes in your breakfast cereal, you probably don't do this. And the worst part too is that their weapons weren't even that good. Like, what did they have? Spears, bows and arrows, hammers? Do we use that shit to my...
I'll probably do some damage with a spear if I knew what I was doing, or in a bow and arrow too. If I knew what I was doing. But other than that, I'll probably have a hard time living back in that time.
Craft now to survive. A spear or bow was probably cool to get a little bird or fox, but what the is it gonna do against the Gigantocopatic? Okay, I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name.
Yeah, ain't gonna do shit.
An extinct species of ape that were 10 feet tall and weighed over.
Hey, how y'all seen the 100 man versus one gorilla? How y'all seen that shit? Who y'all think will win? Will it be 100 man or one gorilla? I honestly think it's gonna be one gorilla. One gorilla will take out 100 man, especially if it's a silverback. It's a rat. Especially if it's a goddamn silverback.
For 1,000 pounds. This must be the primate Shaq comes from, because ain't no way, dog. You're gonna need about 1,000 arrows to take one of these down. Imagine these lived in modern times with us. The NBA would be paying top dollar to get one of them on their team. But nowadays, we could see one of these creatures and be like, damn, that's crazy. and boom, the species would be gone. You also gotta factor in weather too, because unlike today's tools where we can predict when anything is gonna happen, before they had to take a gamble if their village was gonna be up or taken by a tsunami in the middle of the night. I would turn into a villain if I woke up and the whole village was swept away except for me. And people talk about lifespan being low before modern medicine in the past, but imagine in caveman times. They'd be lucky if
they had no medicine back at that time. Like, if you sick, you just sick. Or you just basically let your own body do the work and try to get you better. Or just, croak over, But if you get real sick, it's, But yeah, like, me, I would definitely have a hard time living in that part, being a caveman, trying to hunt. And imagine, like, you have relations with your girl, like everybody's so stinky back in that time. Like, nobody bathed, little. So if you have relations, it's just gonna be stinky. And just,
celebrated their 18th birthday. Doing my inquisiting research with asking a question on Google, the average caveman lived to 20 to 25 years old, man. He was
They only lived for 20 to 25 years. Yeah, so basically it sounds like it was probably a lot of health problems. Probably a lot of deficiency if they wasn't eating much. So basically, it's be hard every day trying to hunt. Maybe some days, or maybe a lot of days, you probably couldn't find no food, or you probably had to eat some animal that you never ate before, or something little, but that ain't really conquer your hunger. So I could see that being a factor. Like, every day you're not gonna find food, and then you start getting to like deficiency that you don't get to eat, and then you become malnourished. I could probably see that happening. So yeah.
already considered unk at 12 years old. A caveman could just catch the common cold and everyone in the village already knew it was GG's. If my caveman homie caught the cold and gave it to me, I'm gonna have to spear his ass first before the cold takes him. Plus, since there was no hygiene like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, they were dying to basic things we prevent nowadays, like tooth infections and ass aids. Well, I don't know about ass aids, but a leaf to wipe your ass had to have not been helped. But the main reason I could...
When you take a shit, you can't even wipe your ass. They would just shit. And shit was... Oh, man. That is a crazy time period. Oh, man. That is really something to think about. Like, you take a shit, you can't really wipe your ass. Shit. I take a woolly mammoth fur and probably wipe my ass with it.
Couldn't live back then, quite frankly, is because everyone was ugly as shit. Like, how am I supposed to be on my Kai Cenat, Duke Dennis, looks maxing, edge mewing, joking type of timing when I look like this? I just keep bashing my face against the wall and hope my proportions smooth out better like handsome Squidward. The next time we got is the medieval times. Now, there's a obvious reason I wouldn't survive because, well, let's just say I wouldn't be allowed in the town with the regular folks. But it's not like I'd want to because shit was not fun. Like, I know I already talked about hygiene with the caveman, but holy shit, at least they died early. There were actual old people in the medieval times. Back then, they used to actually think it was healthier to not shower. Scientists were not the brightest creatures. They thought diseases were caused by smells, and if you took a shower, it opened up the pores for the disease to enter your body, which has got to be the dumbest conclusion ever, but hey, that's what you get on a diet of stale bread and moldy cheese. I also like me a nice toilet with the C-ass temp set at 68 degrees Fahrenheit to set forth the environment for my bowels to erupt. But do you know what a medieval toilet looked like? It was a hole in the ground. And after people finished doing their business, they would just throw their outside. Imagine walking to school or work in the morning and you get hit by 5 pounds of diarrhea from above. And
if I got hit with shit from above, I'm gonna have to kill somebody. Like, if somebody's shit was to hit me, oh yeah, they'd probably be dead that day. They'd probably be dead. We have to scrap. Like, nah. I ain't going for that. Nah.
In medieval times, you better hope you don't get caught with doing a heinous act like being a traitor, being black, because their torture methods were out of pocket for no reason. If you're tapped into the historical side of YouTube, you've already seen how wild they could get. And the names give them away of the torture devices. Like, what type of joist object would be called the breast ripper? The worst one to me is the rack, where they tied you.
Ooh-wee. Look at that. And you probably get that just from stealing a loaf of bread or something. Or maybe you just like stole some money or shoot. There's a lot of things that people get in trouble for. Like you cheat on your wife, you get killed. You know. It's a lot, but this device right here, it literally pulls you like from limb to limb and like break your arm out of socket, break your leg out of socket, and you're already in pain with the little spikes on their back. But yeah, like I couldn't live in medieval times. Like
you to a mechanical device that rotates and slowly stretched out your body until every bone broke and you ripped in half. If they bring this back as a torture method, never in my life am I even attempting to do the pettiest crime. I'm gonna be the most stellar citizen the government has ever seen. I'll always make sure to cross the street on a crosswalk, and I'll always make sure to go exactly the speed limit, not risking. And it's not like they even did it for only extreme criminals. If you simply had a different religious belief, they was finna call you a...
And also, when they kill people like that, that was basically like a show for them. Like, they didn't really have much entertainment. Like, they basically would come out and see people get killed and tortured back in the day. Like, that was literally like a public event to just come out and see, hey, this person stole a loaf of bread, so we're going to kill him. And it was just an event for everybody that day. That was their only source of entertainment. And stuff like that was normal to see somebody like get pulled or get fried inside of a big metal tin. Like they used to boil people in metal tins and stuff like that. There's a lot of like torture stuff that they did back in the day, and it was just something for them to watch around that time period. So,
which and put you on it pronto. Honestly, I don't even know why you would even tell them you have a different religious belief. Like, you just gotta be f***ing stupid. Also, people think politicians and world leaders are corrupt now, but could you imagine back then? You could probably give a king the wrong look, and if he's already mad that day, he'll just send you to be executed. And if I was a king, honestly, I'd probably do that too. Like, if I see some dude in the kingdom that looks handsome and might be a threat to my pulling abilities, I'm gonna have him executed. Game is game. And it's not like anyone was going against the king. If they tried, they would barely have a chance. You would...
Yeah, you cannot go against a king. You have to follow what that king says, or it's curtains for you. Like, you can't even try to kill the king. If you try to kill the king, them guards, they gonna come up and slay you right there. If they don't slay you, they're gonna put you in jail, and you're gonna be an event for a torture or kill, maybe in the next few days or something like that. You never know. But yeah, and there is times that they probably could overthrow a king. It has happened many times probably. If they didn't like what the king was doing, then they just be like, nah, we don't like what he doing. Let's overthrow him, and they'll kill him, and they get a whole new king, whoever's next in line for the heir, you know. But yeah, if you don't listen to the king, you like, hey, you better go get this, and you say no, I don't feel like it. Yeah, you're about to be an event. You're about to be a show, or they'll probably just slay you right there. Or they'll probably, or there's also times that they'll make you do humiliation rituals. I know humiliation rituals was a thing back in the day. Back in that time period, they'll make you humiliate yourself if you don't listen or obey. And if you not trying to humiliate yourself, well, death penalty. You know.
Try killing a king, a knight would stop you, then put you through the most excruciating torture to ever exist.
Take him to Detroit. No! No!
We also thought quarantine was bad and staying a year and a half or 2 years inside was excruciating. But in medieval times, they had the Black Plague and... yeah, we really shouldn't be complaining. You were waking up every day and bodies were dropping left and right like no tomorrow. One day it was your homie's grandmother gone. The next day it was your grandmother gone. This plague took out 50% of the population. Imagine right now we went from 8 billion to 4 billion. Honestly, I wouldn't mind some of y'all freaks being taken out, but 4 billion was a little too much for me, you know? And their plague was 7 years. Also, the doctors were not...
If the Black Plague ever happened, I'm staying in the house. I'm not coming out at all. Hell to the no, I am not coming out at all. The Black Plague was no joke back in that time period. I would be in the house, just be watching y'all like, oh, y'all going outside? All right, y'all be safe, y'all be cool. All right.
Not helping back then because why did they choose this as their outfit? They look creepy as f***.
Look at this. This is what doctors wore back in the day. That looks scary as hell. And weird as hell too. It looked like a black crow. That's what it looked like a crow type thing. And this is what they thought of to wear to not like catch any disease and to be around you to really like check on you since the plague was happening. So, but just imagine like a doctor comes to you in this, like that'd be scary as hell.
No way in hell I'm letting these dudes get near to help me with my medical predicaments. They couldn't have chose a scarier costume to go with. What were they thinking? Imagine being an innocent child and having the Black Plague, then this thing comes to aid and consulting you. I'ma just say my prayers to my Lord and Savior, then drop dead. The next times we got is segregation times. And if you're not of a melanated skin tone, well, congratulations. You get a one-time pass for this portion of the video to relive it. Let me give a shout out real quick to the GOATs. MLK, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. Because without them, you wouldn't be watching this video of me. Either that or there would be a black-only YouTube and white-only YouTube. So, I don't know, maybe you would be watching it. I would have been pissed off living back then because the hassle you had to get anything while segregated was absurd. Like, we already know.
Segregation, period, for black people was the all-time worst. I would definitely have a hard time living in that time period. Like somebody just tried to tell me, I'll probably get killed. I'll probably get killed. Like, I ain't going for this, I ain't going for that. And you gonna try to tell me what to do, you gonna call me the N-word, you just think you gonna run over me. I ain't gonna do that. Now, unless I had kids, then that's a whole other story. You gotta live for your kids, you know. Gotta live for your kids. So it's like, I'll be a good old boy because I gotta live for my kids. But if there was a situation where I had to die for my kids and die for my family, I probably would. Most definitely, like, because I ain't taking no shit. But yeah.
Everything was separated by black and white places only. But then imagine how many actual black businesses you could go to. The hassle you had to go through alone to be able to open a business was almost impossible. As soon as they saw the race listed on the business application, you know they did not give a fuck. If you had to get a life-threatening surgery, you might as well just end it there because there were about 50 people in line in front of you. And even if you did manage to get something luxurious like a car back then, you was getting pulled over every time you tried. You probably couldn't even use the car at nighttime anyways because sundown towns. Which for y'all that don't know are towns that ban non-white.
Yeah, sundown town still happens in today's. And sundown towns is basically where black people could be there for the day, but nighttime, they better go ahead and leave that city because it's not going to be any good. It's not gonna be any good, and there's no reason for you to stay overnight. But yeah, if you're in the sundown town, get out fast.
people from coming in after sundown. Imagine you don't know and randomly drive into the town a minute after sundown and catch a beating. I'd be pissed. And a beating is probably the lightest punishment they'd consider. I'd also be mad too because I wouldn't be able to talk to one of my white homies half the time. You couldn't hang out at the same school, hotels, bars, restaurants, parks, basically anywhere that was fun. The only place we would be able to talk is probably a damn grass field in the middle of Iceland. And if your love happened to be of another race as well, they definitely not gonna let that pass. You finna get banished from the family. Why do you think you've never seen an old light-skinned person? Really question yourself. Have you ever seen an old light-skinned person? They wasn't breeding them until like 50 years ago. It wasn't allowed. Thank the heavens they allowed it, or else we would have never gotten my pookie wookie trachey snaking. You could be walking down the street normally doing your own thing, and randomly someone is calling you the hard R like it's Call of Duty. And unlike Call of Duty where you can talk back, you couldn't risk doing it because you know the cops are not taking your side. You getting a life sentence if you even think of speaking back. Crazy thing is, some people act like this was like 5.
You can't even talk to people during that time. And if you a black man trying to talk to a white woman, that's either jail or death. But most times they probably try to kill you on sight. But yeah, you can talk to people when they like when you buy stuff from them. If they let you buy stuff, they won't even try to touch your hands when they give you back change. Like they don't want to touch you at all. Like they act like you were a germ or disease or something, you know. But yeah.
500 years ago or something. The Civil Rights Act got passed 60 years ago. Some people alive were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s when it got passed. And of course, the last time we got is World War II because, no. Now, World War II was one of those times where every group had it bad. First, you had to get drafted to a war you didn't want to fight. Like, I don't got no problems with anyone. Why the f*** am I fighting? These presidents got to start fighting in a boxer.
If there was another draft today, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm going to tell you one more time. I'm not going. Because that war is not my war. Like, what the hell am I fighting for? Well, I need to go overseas to fight for. It is not my war. I don't have nothing to do with that. And I'll take the jail time. I don't, either war or go to jail. Take me to jail, because I'm not going. You're about to put me over there, and if I do come back, I'm going to be traumatized. Like, everybody traumatized as hell coming back from war. I'm not going. So.
Or something, because I'm not fighting with some problems you got. And patriotism went extra crazy before because kids were dead ass lying to get drafted and fight for the country. I'm doing the exact opposite of this happened. Whatever means it takes to not be drafted, I'm doing it. If I gotta lie about my age and act 12 years old, I'm doing it. If I gotta go,
I'm definitely not going to war just to get a Hellcat. I just want to put that out there.
Up in a political position to be safe, I'm doing it. If I gotta act like I'm sped for years, I'm doing it. And it's even worse for other wars like the Vietnam War, because they would announce the draft picks on live TV, and whatever birthday it was, you were getting drafted. They treat it like it's the NFL or NBA draft. Imagine watching this live and them going, okay, and the draft we have for the Vietnam War of 1972 is going to be... okay, I'm March 3rd. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. March 4th. Oh! Guess I'm good after all. There's been a mistake in the announcement. We meant March 3rd. Fuck! Patriotism really worked back then because all they knew was what the TV played and what the government said. Being on a warfield for months and not knowing when you're gonna either get sniped, hit by a 5-foot tank shell, captured by the enemy, and being tortured for weeks wasn't really the best living times for people. And if you were Japanese, well, I mean... You know how that story goes. Japan was ruthless though, not gonna lie, but could you imagine you're drafted into the Japanese military and the job they assign you is as a kamikaze? There was no age limit to this job either. They gave this job to teenagers. Your fate is already destined that you're dying. What do you even do at that point? A nigga like me would have to dip in the middle of the mission and just let the plane crash in the ocean. I feel like it would be way easier nowadays to get people to do it though. You could recruit by looking for some emo kids or a sad edit TikTok comment section, you know, people that wouldn't mind losing their life anyways. And if you were Jewish, well, I mean, you also know how that story goes. And after being forcibly drafted to the war, you'd come back home and still be broke. With all that PTSD you got.
A lot of people still says to this day, if there's another war, why don't you send all the murderers that's in prison that like to kill? I kind of feel like that's probably, I don't know. To me, I feel like that's probably fair. It's like they like to kill people, to send them to a place where they want to kill. I mean, I'm not trying to condone kill, but hey, don't send me. That's what I'm trying to get at. Don't send me to war. Send somebody that wants to kill, not me. Don't draft me. Draft somebody from prison that likes to kill, but not me.
God, it was probably hard to work any job. You couldn't work in a restaurant because you get PTSD from oil popping from the fryer. You couldn't work a factory job because you get PTSD from all the loud machines. You couldn't work as a corn star because you get PTSD from all the clapping. And even if you do get paid, it's barely enough to scrap by. There's no reason we should have homeless veterans. So yeah, guys, even though the world isn't perfect and things seem like they're always getting worse, at least you didn't have to be a kamikaze pilot in World War II. I think that's the lesson here. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and
Alright, that'll be all today for this video, man. Man, crazy time periods, man. I definitely can't live as a caveman. I definitely can't live in the medieval times. And I definitely couldn't live in segregations or slave time. I definitely couldn't be a slave. I'll get ripped every day, or I'll probably get killed. But yeah, I definitely couldn't live in any of those time periods. But yeah, anyways, y'all, if y'all like the video, go ahead, give me a like, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And this is your boy, L-DUBNATION.